Hi everyone, this is Eldad Amara, and this is my channel Eyes Wide Shut. Now before I go into this video, this is my disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor, I'm not a practitioner or a physician, okay? That's my disclaimer. I want to say this, there's a lot of people, especially young people that I've come across lately, who says to me that they have a feeling of loneliness, disattachment from the world. Yeah, a feeling of loneliness and alienation. Now, alienation and isolation are two totally different things. Isolation is where you're separated from a group of people, say, like the Apartheid Act, going back in America and in South Africa, where you're separated from people because of your race, because of your color, things that could separate you from other people. But now, alienation, that is a different thing. Though the two things are related or interrelated and not the same thing. Alienation is more of an emotional thing, more of a psychological thing. You see, you could be with a group of people, but you can still feel alienated. You can still feel alienated. You could be sat down next to your partner. You could be sat down next to a friend or a group of people and still feel the sense of alienation. You can still feel the sense of alienation. Now, over the last 10 years or so, especially more amongst young people who are suffering from depression. And it's not just young people, but there are lots of people that are suffering from depression. What are the factors for this? Well, there are many. Number one is our mobile phones. Do you know that in the UK, the average time spent on a mobile phone is 6 hours? 6 hours a day. That's the average. Some people spend much more. They'll spend 10, 15 hours. Some people spend less, maybe only an hour or two. But the average is 6 hours in the UK. And in America, the average is 7 hours. Now, spending so much time on your mobile phone is going to obviously have an effect on you and what you're watching. Okay? Another thing as well is social media. Social media, the things that you're watching on your computers or via your mobile phones, that will also have an influence on your mental health. Feeling that everyone else seems to be having such a great time, everyone else seems to be making money, everyone has a great house, nice cars, yeah, seem to be doing something with their life. Let me tell you, most of that is just fictional. It's an illusion. Do you know that some of these people who take pictures of themselves standing by a car, right? Half the time, the cars don't belong to them. They're just standing next to somebody's car and making it look as though the car actually belongs to them. Okay? Now, again, with social media, it seems like everybody's making it. Everyone's making a lot of bling and everyone's got a big name for themselves. Let me say this now. It's an illusion again. There's not really that many people that's making it as big as there's not a lot of people making it as big as they're making out. Okay? And there's people who go out and buy customized jewelry to make it look like they've got a lot of money and bling, and they hold it in front of cameras and stuff. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. We need to start taking better care of ourselves. Seriously. I see so many people when I go out and they'll be in groups and nobody's talking to each other. Everyone's on their mobile phone. Nobody's actually having a conversation. We're losing the art of communication. We're losing the art of actually speaking to each other and holding a conversation. That is one human emotion that is very important for all of us. I've gone overseas and see the same type of thing happening in bars, restaurants, and clubs where people are not actually communicating with each other. They're all sat there and their heads are in their mobile phone. Do you know? So many people talk about how after a few hours being on their mobile phones, they feel a sense of a loss of energy, right? They feel drained. Well, guess what? You're using so much of your own personal information, using a lot of your own emotions and time that has been spent on these devices, and the devices are draining out your energy. I call them soul catchers. These things are soul catchers. I'm going to read you something here, right? Which I got off of Copilot. And it says here, in terms of mental health, it has been said that the mental health of young people in the UK has risen quite a lot in the past decade. Does spending too much time on mobile phones contribute to this? And what other factors in summary, please? And what other factors in summary, please? So I was asking Copilot this question. Copilot says yes. Excessive mobile phone use can contribute to rising mental health problems among young people in the UK, but it is only one factor among many. Other major drivers include social media pressures, as I just said just now, academic stress, economic insecurity, family challenges, and the lingering effects of the pandemic. Mobile phones and social media use. Problematic smartphone use linked to higher rates of anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Teens who struggle to control phone use are twice as likely to experience anxiety. Social media exposure. Constant comparisons, cyberbullying, and harmful online content, e.g., pro eating disorder or self harm communities, can worsen mental health. Sleep disruption, late night scrolling reduces sleep quality, which is strongly tied to emotional well being. Addictive patterns. Phones can create depends Phones can create dependency like behaviors leading to withdrawal symptoms when not used. Other factors: COVID-19 pandemic isolation, disruptive education, and uncertainty amplified stress and loneliness. Cost of living crisis, rising inequality, and financial strains affect family stability, young people sense young people's sense of security, academic pressure, increased testing, competition, expectations contribute to stress and burnout. Access to services, demand for NHS mental health support has surged. Family and social dynamics, divorce, parental stress, reduced community support, networks can leave young people feeling isolated. A cultural shift, greater awareness and willingness to report mental health issues may partly explain the rise in statistics. As I say, over the last 10 years or so, and even more since the thing in 2020, the mental health, especially amongst young people, has increased quite a lot. Also, the mental health amongst the general population is starting to increase as well, and there's not enough services, okay, to cope with this. We need to, as people, to get out, to get into the heart of nature, okay? Put down your phones sometime and just go outside and have a conversation with your friends. Have a conversation with a stranger. Take your shoes and your socks off and put your feet into the earth and ground yourself, because that also helps you. What other things can you also do to help your mental health? You can do things such as tree hugging. I've tried it once or twice and it does seem to work. Yeah. I don't know why, I don't know how, but hugging a tree, they say, helps, and I've tried it. What other things? You can also do things like meditation. There are classes that you can find online. There are classes that you can find in your local community. Yoga is another good one. It'll get you outdoors, it'll get you speaking to people, you'll be getting exercise, not only exercise, but you will also feel mentally much better, right? And you'll be communicating with other people. Because the worst thing that you can do is be sat on your mobile phone 6, 8 hours a day. There's some people take their phones to bed with them as well. That ain't no good. That's why you're not sleeping, because you're too busy scrolling. And some people doom scroll as well. They think that there's going to be the ending of the world, that the world is coming to an end. All right? So they're there doom scrolling. People, we need to start getting back to the old ways of communicating with each other. Not through our devices, not through our mobile phones, and not through our computers. Also, spending too much time watching television is also not too good for you either. We need to try and raise our vibration. I showed people this in the past, this vibrational chart. Okay? This emotional vibrational chart. You see, our bodies carry different frequencies. There are frequencies there, can you see it? Okay, there's a different emotion for jealousy. There's a different emotional frequency, should I say. There's different emotional frequency for jealousy, a different emotional frequency for fear, a different emotional frequency for hatred, a different emotional frequency for envy. Can you see? Can you see the frequency? Can you see? So, shame carries a hertz, because emotions are measured in hertz, okay? It's measured in hertz. That's from peak to peak in waves. So shame carries a 20 hertz frequency, which is a very, very low frequency. Guilt carries a very low frequency as well, which carries a 30 hertz frequency. Fear, which we get a lot of through social media and through television. There's always all this thing about wars going on, yeah? Things about housing crisis, things about job crisis. And that kind of keeps us in our place via fear, the fear frequency. And then you got anger, which is 150 hertz frequency. Then you move up and you want to try to move up to the 500 hertz frequency, which is love, which is love, which is love, which society seems to lack at the moment. Right? It needs to get up to that love frequency. And love and fear can't live in the same, we cannot live on the same frequency. We need to try and raise up our vibration up to the love frequency. When you get to 600 hertz, you got the 600 hertz, you got peace frequency. And then the top one is enlightenment, which carries a frequency of 700 to 1,000 hertz frequency. Right now we're being held down by fear, anger, and jealousy. There's our low vibrational frequency. We need to try and raise up our frequency. Okay? Another thing is this: money, which hasn't been discussed. Money also carries a frequency. And think of all the things that money also carries with it. Think of all the things that money carries with it: hate, anger, jealousy, thinking about the loss of your job if you lose your job. It's connected to this thing here. They say money is the root of all evil. People rob for it. People will rob for this thing. They will kill for it. Yeah? They will mug for it. They will commit prostitution for it and all kinds of things for the love of money. Money is not the root of evil. The love of it is the root of evil. The love of it is the root of all evil. I am not a doctor. I'm not a physician, right? I'm not a medical expert. So that's my disclaimer. I'm just giving my point of view, my opinion. We need to, as people, start getting outdoors, start getting more exercise, start putting our mobile phones away. We need to stop spending so much time watching TV, especially the news, which has a lot of fear factors. Yeah? We're talking about things like unemployment, war, loss of jobs, and all of those kinds of things. That just brings our frequency down. We need to try and raise our frequency. Anyway, this is Eldad Amara with a very short video here. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is Eldad Amara. We need to have our eyes wide open instead of our eyes wide shut. Thank you.